Come on.
All right.
Let's go.
You should probably start it.
Hey, if you're wondering why are you doing that?
Because I needed a good thumbnail for our video.
Oh, I got you. Okay. If you're wondering why we were a little bit late, it's because Trevor can't count down from 10. So there you go. That's just what we want to know.
True. He started at 6.
There you go.
Is my mic on?
I don't know.
Jake, is your mic
I
on?
can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
No.
Hey,
gonna-
you know what you might want to do?
You
might want to start a watch party.
also might want to eat a Big Mac, but that's a different.
What is with you and McDonald's food?
What's wrong with McDonald's food?
I had a double Arby's sandwich on the way here, by the way.
What's a double Arby's sandwich?
It's double the meat. They used to call them mediums, but now they call them doubles.
No, they call them the half pound, I thought.
No, that's the triple. That's the 3.
Oh, I usually get the half pound. Learning about Jake tonight. That
Who
is the
knew?
watch party I'm starting.
Who knew? Jake, hold on.
hey.
I can't. Oh, okay. I know what I'm doing now. We're going to start a watch party. In case you're wondering, you can start a watch party also. Just find the feed on the Crossbridge page, and you can share it and all that good stuff. So I'm
Yes.
terrible at multitasking, but here I go.
You're
share.
just terrible, period.
See, now that says
Yeah, so go to your watch party on Facebook.
Start.
Start one for us because we got
Start
an exciting
watch party.
guest with us tonight. To my right, might be your left on video, is our worship pastor, the one and only Jake Eisenhower. Oh, rookie mistake.
oh, yeah.
man.
Yeah, with me too.
Don't worry, Brad makes
I
that
did- I did
mistake
the same
every
thing.
time.
Oh,
Jake is our
well.
worship
Nobody
pastor
could hear.
here.
We are excited
and
about
we are
tonight.
so excited.
And one of my most exciting moments is when you're going to ask the brain teaser to Jake.
Yes.
Because Jake is one of the smartest staff members we have.
I thought you were going to say smartest guys you know, and clearly don't know me
Well-
very well.
I think he does.
Yeah.
Is that so?
So are you going to start with the brain teaser? Are we
yeah,
ready to go?
Hey, let's get started with the brain teaser.
All
Okay.
right, let's do it.
Okay. Just so you know, I think Kim is still or you've got one right.
I did get one right.
Okay, so Kim and Brad are the only two to get one right. I'm still 0-20. All right.
Yes, right.
So don't feel too bad. But did you know? And I asked this hypothetically because you do know because we just talked about it. Did you know that we went viral on TikTok last night?
Wow.
Wow.
Everybody's excited. Mind blown.
Wow, mind blown. Hey,
I mean, literally
literally.
viral.
Yeah, yeah. So
I mean, sometimes our viral is 100 people.
yeah, true. Yeah, we went viral last
We feel
night on
very good
TikTok.
at 100 people sometimes.
And by we, I mean Bruce. Like Bruce went viral.
Of all people.
Yes. Yeah.
He has a sparkling personality.
We actually said that it was probably because he looks like a thumb, and people thought that they had to match their thumb to the screen. But yeah, he didn't think that was funny. And so, yeah, if you don't follow us on TikTok, #ad Crossbridge Community on TikTok. But we had 500,000 people watch our video.
That is not a mistake. That is
No.
500,000,
500,000 people.
which is almost 500,000. Just you go ahead.
Oh, Bradley.
ahead.
So this is gonna be a
It's more
TikTok
fingers
question.
than a head.
This is gonna be a TikTok question because TikTok right now is the #1 app in the world
All right.
for the 2019 first quarter. It's crazy. How many downloads did TikTok have in the first quarter of 2019?
Is it? I'll give you a little time to think that. Is it brand new? I mean, it
It
just
came out in 2016,
really.
but it blew up like I don't know 6 months ago.
Why?
I think. Well, they definitely
I'm
added
stalling
a few
for
features.
you. You got to be thinking, Jake.
They added a lot of features, but Vine, well, Instagram was also the hottest thing at the time. So I think once Instagram, it's on the decline now. I think once that started to decline, TikTok was able to come in and take over.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many
Now, Jake,
downloads in the first quarter of 2019?
My guess, 2.8 million.
Dude, you're not even close. 33 million downloads.
33 million.
Jeez.
Yeah, and they have 500 million active users right now.
500 million.
Isn't that crazy? 500 million and 33 million downloads in the first quarter of 2019.
So does that mean 10% of them liked our video? Can you do the
That's
math?
not 10%.
Jake might be able to do the math because he's
That's not
smarter than
You're,
both. of us.
you're
Not even close.
1 million would be like 1%.
No, that'd be 50%.
If there's
500,000.
500 million.
500 million.
50%.
Oh, well,
At
never
1
mind.
million.
I went to Norwell, people.
Oh, boy. Oh, man, we should get started.
Yeah, we definitely should. Well, welcome everybody to C3 Thursday. My name is Brad Maddox, and I am the outreach pastor here at Crossbridge Community Church. This
Church.
I'm going through puberty. Finally.
Oh,
This
boy.
is Jordan Chitwood, our young adults pastor, and The esteemed guest we have today is Jake Eisenhower, who is our worship pastor here at Crossbridge Community Church. So
Yeah.
welcome, Jake.
Yeah.
Thank you.
welcome,
Thanks for
welcome.
having me.
Yeah, man, you're a pro already. Hey, we are glad to have Jake here because for the last couple of months we've been walking through just some of the next steps for our staff and just hearing their stories, how they got into ministry. Trevor and myself are the only two people on Crossbridge. Some of you might not know this, with ministry degrees, and
Right.
so ending up at a church was kind of our goal
Yeah.
after college. But for most of us, including Jake, that wasn't really what you envisioned right after college, right after finishing. And so we just kind of want to give you an opportunity to get to know Jake a little bit better tonight. You get to see him on stage if you're here with us, either live or on stream. But there's a lot about Jake that you don't get to know, especially because he's also super quiet. And so,
True.
when you get to work
That's
with
why
him,
I was so excited about being
oh,
here
he's
today.
so excited. Yeah. But when you get to work with him, you get to see his personality a little bit more. And so we want to share that with the world with just a couple of questions tonight.
Yeah. So first of all, why don't you just tell everybody, kind of the background you came out of to come into ministry?
Yeah, well, it all started really in college. Well, maybe high school. I had started in the band, middle school band. I actually started playing French horn. Was the first instrument
Really?
that I really learned.
That's what we need on our worship team.
That's no doubt.
Some French people.
Life changing. But anyway, that sparked a love for music. Eventually, I got involved with the worship team at my church. Went off to college, found the campus ministry, got involved there. Got to lead my last 2 years of college as the worship leader for the campus ministry, and just fell in love with it. But that wasn't going to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So,
Really?
so I decided, well, I guess I've gone through most of this engineering school already. I might as well just finish and get the degree.
Yeah.
So finished, had a degree in electrical engineering. Took a job a few states away in Virginia for a very special government agency that
We'd
will
tell you, but
remain
we'd have to
unnamed.
kill you.
And I'd have to kill Brad.
So there you go.
Worked there for a couple years, and while I was out there, found a church, got involved there, was playing on the worship team, eventually became the worship leader there for a little bit of time while they were trying to fill up a gap. Their previous worship pastor had left, and they needed to hire somebody, and I filled up that time while they were looking before I moved back to Indiana, where I got married, got settled down in New Haven, started looking for a church, found Crossbridge, fell in love with the church, saw an opportunity where I could serve and be a part of the team, and then it just took off from there.
So how long were you an engineer?
Technically, I still am. So
That's true.
I graduated May 9th of 2009.
Exactly. Don't throw your host under the bus.
We do that
That
all
was
the time.
awesome.
We do that all the time.
I worked in engineering for, 8 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, 8 years total, minus about 10 to 12 months with job transitions. And I actually worked for the campus ministry at Trine for about 10 months. After we got married, I was looking for a job. I'd actually talked to the campus minister there when I graduated, and he said, "Hey, we'd love to have you stay on and be on staff and work as our worship guy, lead the tech area, and then kind of grow into a position where I could meet with students and interact with them and help them to grow in their walk and everything." And at the time, again, it was money stuff, and I wasn't really. I liked the music, but I wasn't sure, like all the other stuff, meeting with students and talking about that kind of stuff didn't really excite me. So
Right.
I said, thanks, but I'm going to pass at this time.
Right.
But ended up going back after we got married and worked there for a little while. And that kind of sparked the passion a little more and really started to drive me toward, where I am now in ministry.
Cool.
Yeah, so I believe that you and Gina, after you got married, you first visited Crossbridge like 6 or 7 years ago. Was it? Because we were still at the YMCA, right? When you first visited us. And then you ended up coming back. Was it after we'd already moved in? Or was it like a month
was
later?
a few months before.
Okay, so a few months before, and then you
Yeah.
guys, you got involved pretty quickly.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we remembered, and that's what we loved about Crossbridge. We actually So we got married in 2012. So that summer was when we first visited, and we met Bruce and Dan.
Hmm.
And so, loved it. Went a couple times, but then when I took the job at Trine, they had requirements for staff to attend certain churches, and they had a church. So during that time I was working there, we attended a different church.
Gotcha.
Once I left that job, we said, hey, let's go back and check out that Crossbridge place again. And Dan remembered us, our first Sunday back.
That guy was weird.
And so,
That Dan guy was so weird.
so we're like, wow, that's amazing. This is a cool place. So we visited a few more times, and then, we found a place where we can get in real quick.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah. So when did you? Because I know that you joined the worship team. You started doing a little bit more leading, and then Bruce started being able to step away in different ways and areas. And from your worship service a couple weeks ago, you shared the situation where Bruce and you had lunch and said, "Hey, we'd like to bring you on part-time. This is what we're able to do for you, and we'd hope you can do that." When did you start to kind of feel the pull that maybe leaving engineering as a whole, except for all the engineering stuff you do for us, and maybe ministry could become a full-time, even though it's part-time, full-time job though for you, and might be a long-term career as well?
yeah, I think worship ministry for me was always the goal, really. Minus maybe that first year out of college.
Mm-hmm.
But I just had such a passion for it. I wanted to continue doing it in whatever capacity, whether that was as a volunteer, continuing to work an engineering job or not. Really, the main thing that we focused on was paying off our student loans,
Oh yeah.
and having an engineering salary helped us do that way faster than we had expected.
Huh.
So
Maybe I should become an engineer. I'm not smart enough to become an engineer.
So really, that was
For
the thing that kept me.
encouragement.
Trust me. You saw my math. I'm not either. I'm sorry. We keep interrupting Jake. People that actually listen to him, they don't want to listen
Yeah,
to
they
us.
don't care about
Yeah.
us.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even know what I was
I
talking
don't
about
either.
anymore. Student loans.
Yeah, student
Yeah.
loans.
So we paid off our student loans, and it was I didn't share this Sunday a couple weeks ago, but we paid off our student loans the beginning of that September. Bruce
So-
and I met the end of
Wow.
September,
Wow.
and he said, "Hey, this is what we have."
So were you before that September? Were you? I mean, did you know there was a possibility of coming on staff? Because
Yeah.
you were doing a lot of volunteering at
Right.
that stage for quite a while. You volunteered for how long?
Let's see, 2013, probably.
I thought it was like 3 years, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I thought it was quite a few.
It was about 3.5 years before I came on staff
That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
that I
yeah.
had been involved with the team. Probably 2 of those I was kind of the lead guy.
And I think that's one of the things that I love, because I think sometimes, especially people who want to get into ministry, they expect to go immediately into some kind of, and there you
Yeah.
are, you see that in a lot of people, is that it's a volunteer thing that leads them into ministry. It's just a step. I'm being obedient to God.
Yeah.
And even because you sacrifice a lot of time and energy and things like that to do that for that long, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah.
That led you into an open door of ministry. Yeah. And some people aren't willing to do that. They want to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to volunteer because I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, it's tough. And
It is.
And it was, 40, 45 hours a week at a normal job, and then
Absolutely.
10 to 15
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
chord
10
charts, getting
to
songs,
15, at
practice.
least that. At least
Yeah.
that much. So,
Yeah, and that's what's so cool and inspiring for us to see. And as we've seen you grow, I think that's been my favorite part about having you on staff, because it's given you the platform to be able to. I can play and learn music as my job. Like, that's part of it. We're especially with how much you've grown. Where you started, where it felt like you were just doing a set. And now it's like you're creating an experience.
Right.
And especially this worship service. If you weren't at the worship service a couple weeks ago, you've got to go watch it
It was
online.
amazing.
It won't be the same, but it will be powerful.
yeah.
And it's just cool. When I went back to watch and look, it's just cool to see how far you've come, and really how far this team has also come at Crossbridge as well.
And that's one of the cool things. I think that, and me too, is I love watching you grow. So with that, whenever someone gets into ministry, they never know what to expect, And so talk a little bit about maybe some of the really cool things, the blessings that come with that, and then we'll ask you about some of the hard things also that come with being in ministry. So
Yeah.
go wherever you want to go there.
Well, I've been sharing an office with Brad for a few weeks now,
That's-
so
That's
Which
a
one
struggle.
is that the blessing?
you can put that in blessing or challenge, whatever. It depends on the day, really.
I'll trade
Um,
you office mates.
Yeah, I bet you would. Uh, really, the blessings. I mean, just every week is something new. Whether it's somebody comments that they enjoyed the worship, or something went well, or it's one of the people on the worship team sending me a text throughout the week for whatever reason, to ask a question, to let me know they need help or prayer or whatever the case, just to see, for me personally, where I've been, how far I've come relationally.
Yeah.
You guys know I'm not a relational
Yeah.
person. I don't seek out those
Right.
people. I don't
Don't like the
necessarily always
limelight.
want to talk to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But to be able to develop those relationships with my teammates over the past few years, and just dig deeper into life with them and their walks, and see them grow as musicians, as people in the church, see them stepping up in other places outside of the stage, and just doing things and pushing forward, that encourages me, and it makes me want to grow more and grow
Yeah.
closer with them.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I think 2018, especially for you, right after 2018, we had a few of our key people that were serving 3 or 4 weeks end up moving away. And there was kind of that couple-month period where I know it was extremely challenging for you of finding volunteers, finding people to fill some of those spaces. What were some of the hard parts, I guess? Maybe it was some of those valleys, but even just this journey that you're on, some of the things that you found that are challenging about being the worship pastor, or just even a pastor, Mr. Reverend now ordained.
That's right.
Just some of the challenging things that come with the job.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest challenges, it's not even like this spiritual warfare or whatever kind of thing. It's simply getting people to volunteer and show up.
Yeah.
And as we've talked about volunteers around the different ministry areas, I tell my team all the time how much I appreciate them. I don't think I've ever had anyone not show up.
That's awesome.
People are willing to do whatever I ask them, almost as much as I ask them. But it's still a challenge, and I try to be respectful of their time and what they have going on with jobs and family life and all those other things. So when it comes down to it, and there's a spot that needs filled, I'm the one that fills the spot.
Yeah.
Whether it's programming lights, programming lyric slides, programming extra instruments, playing extra instruments, and recording it for that Sunday,
Yeah.
filling in those ways. So the challenge is, more on me to get those things done, which wasn't necessarily unexpected when I started this, but there are just those times, and like you said, when I lose people, especially if they're people that I've relied on to do big things, or
Yeah.
if I've pushed them into a position where they're doing a little more on the team, they're involved a little more, and then God calls them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's my job to say, I'm so happy for you, go do amazing things.
Yeah.
And
As hard as that
you mean
is.
that, but yet you don't mean that.
I
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and I
man.
think it's unique in your position because a lot of the stuff that we do is we have really strict rules. Basically we put a mirror under somebody's nose. If it fogs up, you're in. If you're breathing, you can do what we are asking you to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, with your team, you've got to find talented people, work
Yeah.
with them, find their gifts, and so
We don't want Brad's mirror to be fogged up for the ministry.
You
We
do
don't-
not want me anywhere near the worship team. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's what is definitely, I think, challenging about your position, because there was that time period of who can I go to, who can I ask, and so it was just cool to see you persevere through that. And now we've got a solid team of individuals that are passionate and excited about ministry and worshiping together. The next question that we want to throw at you is something that we've talked about with all of our individuals that have talked about next steps here. And it's really just a question of faith of what has kind of been either a passage or a story in the Bible or a verse that has been a cornerstone for you, maybe since your time at Crossbridge, maybe since you were a kid, whatever it might be. But what's been something that in those valleys, in those hills that you've turned to as encouragement or just, something that pushed you forward?
Yeah. For me, like I shared a couple weeks ago in service, is always music.
Yeah.
That's always something I can go back to, whether it's a specific song for a mood or a moment that I'm going through, or just to take my mind off something and listen to music for a little while.
Yeah.
There's also a verse that I really like, 1 Corinthians 16:13. I don't have it memorized, but it's, it's really simple, and I should have it, but
Paraphrase.
yeah, well, it's like 5 words or something, but be strong in your faith, be courageous, be brave, be bold,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And it's, Paul's wrapping up that letter to the Corinthians, and he's just telling them, look, you're gonna face some challenging stuff,
Yeah.
and here's your pep talk. You can do it, but
Yeah.
you got to be tough.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be stuff that you have to go through. Like, I've gone through some stuff. The beginning of this year, the end of last year, beginning of this year, was just a tough time for me. I was kind of in a rut,
Yeah.
spiritually, mentally, and just had to get through things. And so, that verse, be strong in your faith and persevere, be
Yeah.
brave.
And we've actually watched you do that as coming through those
Yeah.
valleys and things, and it's also an encouragement to those around you. And even on a Sunday morning, I just want you to know, and we've talked a little bit about this, is that you and your team have become more and more expressive. Where you're actually Sunday isn't just a job for you guys; you're
Yeah.
actually worshiping, and it's encouraging to us, and I know the congregation, that it just helps us worship also, knowing that, hey, this is not a fake thing. This is who they are, and that's been
Yeah.
exciting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know that's also been a stretch for you, because you've shared multiple times even tonight. Like, I'm not that kind of a person, but because you realize that that's a powerful way. You're feeling it. You're in there inside, knowing, I want to create this place, and it's cool to just see that even though that's not how you're wired, that you're able to step through some of that, and be what God wants you to be, and that's what's so cool. And so Brad's got one last question for you.
So what's the next year? What's life look like for not only Jake Eisenhower, but the Eisenhower family? What are you looking forward to? What are ministry-wise and family-wise?
Well, we have some big things coming up. Life's going to get busy because we're expecting our second child.
Woo!
Yeah.
Baby
Yeah.
Eisenhower on
That's
the
right.
way.
We are excited, also nervous. And it's tough because when our first child was born, I lost Gina, who plays keyboard.
Right.
Yeah.
We all
but-
lost Gina.
Sorry, I didn't lose Gina. I don't want anybody to get
Still
confused.
alive.
She's still very much alive.
Yes.
But the congregation grieved that she
yes.
was
She's
not, playing keyboard.
Yes, we love Gina.
I
on
lost
the
her as a
keys.
keyboard player. And not just a keyboard player. And I think, that's easy for people to see. Yeah, she played keyboard. What they don't see is we practiced throughout the week,
Right.
many times. And we've played together so much that, it was she could fill in things, or she understood what I was doing, where I was going. If I stopped to talk, she would,
Right.
pick up
Yeah.
the slack, things like
Well,
that.
I think that's what was so significant about the testimony video that we put out on Facebook last week, is you could just tell that you and Gina, when she was playing the background music, you didn't have that 100% memorized.
Right.
You might have practiced what you were going to say and written down a few things, but like, it was cool to see her progress and change the way she was playing when maybe you said a phrase or something, and that's just something you were able to do because of your relationship, and you could tell that it was more than just, hey, Gina, play these keys.
Mhm.
And we did miss her presence. I think that was also part of it, is she just has this presence about her
Yeah.
when she's up there and able to fill in for you. I'm sure that was a huge loss for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, I've still got a great team, and people are filling in those roles too,
Mhm.
which is great to see. And we could use some more keyboard players if anyone out there. But yeah, so that's a challenge. And then also for her, for Sunday mornings, now she's gonna have to get 2 kids ready.
Yeah.
Right.
to get here because
Because you're here early.
I still have to be here early and I have to get ready. So, we're just gonna have to figure those things out. Schedule wise, things are gonna change.
Right.
So that's gonna be a big thing for us. As far as ministry stuff, I'm excited where we're going. Some new team members, people. I'm trying to push to do more, to do better, to improve, and understand that it's not so we can be great musicians and look cool on stage, but because we want to glorify God with our talents, and we want to be the best we can be because He's given those talents.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to throw you under the bus because we got a little time. I'm going to ask you one more question.
All right, lay it
And it's
on
a
me.
question we've actually asked others. I just forgot to write it down. Is we're talking about next steps, and it's been cool to see your journey really for the last 10 years, even before that, of how you've moved, changed jobs, changed careers. What advice do you have for individuals that might be in a similar situation of taking next steps? Maybe they graduated with a degree that was electrical engineering, working for a top government agency, and they're like, I'm just not passionate about that. What maybe helped you along the way that might be able to help other people as well with their next step journey?
I talked to a lot of people along the way. And there's a guy I remember, I had a conversation with him on a spring break trip when I was working for the campus ministry. And I said, hey, I want to be on staff at a church somewhere. Can you give me any advice? And he said, follow God.
Yeah.
He goes, I really can't help you. It's as simple as that. Doors will be opened and doors will be closed. You have to know when to walk through the door. Or
That's cool.
you have to know when to knock on the door.
That's
that
also
was
true.
another thing,
Yeah.
Doors can be opened. If they're closed in front of you, doors can be opened. And knowing when to knock, when to walk through an open door, when to ignore a closed door. Just some of those things, understanding that God doesn't expect us to make the right choice every time because maybe there isn't a right choice. There's this path or this path, and He wants us to follow a path.
A path.
That'll preach.
That will.
That'll preach.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Hey, Jake, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It was really important for, you to be able to share your story because, people get to see you on stage all the time, but to really dive deep into who you are behind the scenes is just really cool and not a luxury that everybody gets to know. And so thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We hope that you enjoyed getting to meet Jake a little bit tonight. This Sunday, we have an opportunity for you to get to meet Jake on stage again. And so come hang out with us Sunday at 9 o'clock or 10:30 here at the church. I will be preaching on week 2 of our series, The Fight for My Life. We're going to be talking about the time alone with God, the importance of it, and the importance of Scripture. And so if you want to join us at 9 o'clock or 10:30 or on stream, YouTube or Facebook for our second service, the worship team will be killing it. They got a lot of good songs. A new song that we played a couple weeks ago, they're going to be playing at the end, so it's going to be really cool. And so join us this week. And then last announcement, well, I guess 2 more.
2 more?
One announcement is right after service, like 3 hours later. Not right after. It's like 4 hours later. 4 o'clock to 5:30, we have our trunk or treat here at Crossbridge. If you're in Fort Wayne, come join us at the property for a free event, safe event, fun event. Brad and I are
Free
going to
hot dogs.
dressed like hippos. No, we're not. But I wish.
Dragon.
You're gonna be a dragon.
I'm going to be a dragon this year.
I don't know what I'm gonna be. Marissa made me a costume. Oh, I think I'm Dash from The Incredibles
All right.
because I'm short.
Are you
Yeah,
wearing
'cause
something?
you're dashing.
Do you have an outfit?
Yeah, we are coming
And you have a car?
in a truck. Yeah,
In a
You have
truck.
car?
Trunk.
Yes, they have a car.
we have a car.
You've actually won a couple of these
We did.
contests.
We won a
Wow.
few years ago.
a few years ago.
Yeah.
I love these contests.
This is going to be awesome.
So, and then the last announcement.
Oh,
next
yes.
Thursday.
Next Thursday.
We have a random fun week that Brad
Random.
and I are going to be doing at
Yep.
8 o'clock. It is going to be called
For Sure No.
If you're a John Chris fan, you know what For Sure No means.
For sure, no.
And so we're just going to be talking about funny questions, funny conversations, funny things in the Bible, funny things in the world, funny things that for sure
For sure no.
like, should not be a
Should
thing.
not be a
Should
thing.
not